Welcome to the Cam Matrix. Today, we are welcoming a new service partner onto the platform, Brian Lancaster with Stratus Roofing. Welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
All right, so we got to get a little bit of background on you, and then we'll talk a little bit about your company. So tell me about Brian.
Yeah, so I came into roofing not from roofing. Most people that got into roofing are not from a roofing background. My background is in law enforcement for almost 20 years, and I had left law enforcement in 2016 and had my own business. And when Hurricane Irma was coming through in the fall of 2017, we had an opportunity there with a friend of mine. He goes, "Hey man, I need a sales guy." And I got into right away, just hitting the ground running with Hurricane Irma. And so it's all history from there, and went from creating an entire process and taking care of people and ended up at Stratus Roofing, great company, and was their director of sales and marketing for residential sales. And now I'm their director of business relations for multifamily and commercial. So it's really a fun time. That, no one comes into roofing, set on being in roofing, but it's a great business and everybody needs a roof over their head. So it's exciting to give that to them here at Stratus Roofing.
I've heard a lot of good things about your company. If you have the law enforcement background, then you know what it's like for the managers to be in a thankless job, right? Where people don't appreciate you.
That you say that, because one of the things that I've recognized right away is with the managers is the stress that they're under and the overtasked. They have to be the lawyer, they have to be the mediator, they have to be the firemen putting out fires constantly, and the stress levels that they're at. Their job it might be more stressful in law enforcement. Because their life's probably even on the line sometimes, even if they don't realize it. But
yeah,
the feeling, that overwhelming feeling of all of that is just, it's a really, I relate and I empathize with them when I see, they're just so, spread out and so spread thin. And, one of the things that I like to ask is, how can I help you? Not just with roofs. I mean, how can I help you with anything? There's different ways I could help. Do you need a vendor for something? Do you need someone to talk to? Is there something that I can do for you that will help alleviate some of your stress? And I want to be that person to help.
Yeah, who can lean on me, let me be your support system a little bit. Sometimes it's a matter of them saying, well, I don't have a roofing project, Brian, but I got this over here that I'm trying to do, and da 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 da. And you're like, I know the guy that does that, or I know have a great service partner that I could refer you to. So tell us a little bit about Stratus Roofing.
Yeah, so Stratus Roofing has been around for just about 10 years now, but the owners have been together for about 25 years. There's 3 main partners and 2 of their wives. We have a new COO as well that they are running the entire business. They're very proficient, efficient business people, very relational business people, and their background is in development and ownership of communities. So they understand a lot of the nuances and the things that go into all the details of what a community requires, which I think brings a special, ingredient to the conversation when we are working on a roof proposal. We approach it from the way the board or the CAM is looking at it, because that's where they came from, so they understand that world. And so with that said, we're a GAF Master Elite contractor. That's special because you have to go through certain vetting requirements with GAF. And, it's based on your integrity, it's based on your service, it's based on, how you do business. And you not every contractor gets to the top level of their particular manufacturer that they're working with. We've gone a step further and also received what's called the President's Club Award. And that's for additional service and processes that we have shown incredible proficiency in, that sets us apart even further. And another thing that we are that is unique to this entire area, we're the top one of maybe a couple, if maybe the only one at this point, GAF energy installer. So we can install the GAF solar product, and that doesn't always work out.
Oh, really?
in this CAM world, but it's more of a, it's more of a residential individual home type thing, but we're looking at options of how to integrate it into a community and how it could save, money that way as well. And they have a new product that's been on Forbes and all sorts of awards already. It's a nailable solar shingle, which is unlike anything on the market. So we have this relationship with JF that is very supported by them, and it's because of how we do business and how we treat people. And what that translates to the CAM is that they know that they're going to get the highest level of roofing system, that even if they go with, there's different warranty options, even if they go with like a lower warranty option, that they're still getting the maximum input with the materials. And there's no cutting corners, because we can't, because we have a reputation that we have to uphold too. So
yeah, that's one of the discussions I have with a lot of the service partners. The community association world is a very small world in our different areas, and people talk and managers talk, and you do something wrong and it gets out quick.
You said you do something wrong, and I like to note, hey, things are going to go wrong on any project. It's going to happen.
No, what's
Let
the
me
way
tell
you
you
handle
it's
it?
going to happen.
Yeah.
But how do you respond? And how, some contractors ghost the CAM or the person that's in charge of that project, and that's
money.
No good. Yeah, or yeah. And so one of the things that we do is we actually go around and put a door hanger on every door of every resident of the community that we're working in. And on that has contact information for us to take the pressure off the CAM. Hey, call us if you're having an issue with something we're doing. In addition to that, we create a relationship with a local tire company. And what happens when you get a roof? Nails come off, and we do our best to get all the nails up, but sometimes residents end up rolling over a nail, and guess what? We cover the chart. We tell them on that flyer, hey, if you get a nail pop from one of our nails, go to this tire place and they'll inspect it. And if it's one, we know what nails are coming off and we know what nails we're using. If it's a bolt that has nothing to do with anything we're doing, well, then we're going to say, hey, that wasn't from us. But even then, we've just taken care of it. But that's because we're about taking care of people and doing the right thing. So
I've never heard of a roofing contractor doing that. So that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's
so,
nice. And that is nice for the managers
that are watching this. If they end up watching the video, they just got a freebie. But I think it's super important that you guys know from us that we're going to do everything we can to take the pressure off of you, the CAM and the board, and say, hey, we're going to make this whole project go as best as possible. If something goes wrong, we're going to fix it. We're going to take care of it. We're not going to try to run away from it. We're going to come up with a solution. And so those are important things.
If we're talking about a new manager, maybe that has never worked with a roofing project before.
Right.
If I had, like, let's say a 4-unit villa, 2,000 square foot each, shingle roof, how long is it going to take to do that project?
So you're saying about 4,000 to 6,000 square feet.
6,000 square feet covering
roofing materials. Yeah. So that
shingle.
It's gonna take most of the week, to do it right. From tear off to inspections to getting to the end game of that. There may be some follow-up final inspections the following week, but I would say 4 to 5 days and that type of project. We do about 2,000 to 3,000 square foot in a day potentially. So it could be a 2-day project, but the reality is it's usually 4 to 5 on something that size. 2 to 3,000 square feet a day of re-roofing. So if you have, depending on the size of the complex, the thing that you have to keep in mind though is it's not just how long the process of the roofing is in that time frame, but you also have the tear off. You have the, depending on what jurisdiction you're in, you have dry-in inspection, so it pauses, and then you have that. You have to make sure if they're not able to come out and inspect it that day, you got to wait another day, so that adds time, and then you have a final inspection. So you have different variances, and then depending on the size of the project, you have the dumpsters and waste removal and all that kind of stuff. So
I was just trying to get an idea, because it seems like if you have a community, let's say that you're talking those types of buildings, but it's a large community and there could be 15 of those types of buildings, how you guys being on site there could be, to some unit owners, it could be a huge inconvenience. And you've got a lot of equipment that you're bringing in, a lot of vehicles. What is your line of communication with the manager in order to kind of prep the community for what they're getting into?
Right. So what we like to do is we like to have a meeting even with them before they've accepted proposal. And I think a lot of the stuff we bring up addresses a lot of that. We always have a point of contact. So we always have a project manager that's on site that is the primary person that's responsible for anything that is taking place. Then we have our general manager, director of operations. And then usually I'm involved, or one of the owners are involved at some point, because we've created the relationship. So there's a real open flow of communication and just making sure there's a clear understanding. And one of the questions we ask is, hey, where do you want us to put the dumpsters? Here's where we need them, but we're not going to go put them on your new grass,
Right. Yeah. On the sprinkler systems. Yeah.
Right. Like, we're mindful of that. Depending on how many stories, what type of, system do we need for debris removal and keeping it safe. But, also depending on how large the project is, we need to be able to have a space for staging and putting, the materials in a certain place. It's not going to dramatically affect the daily operations, but you just have to get a little bit creative on how to handle it, because sometimes communities are built with not that
all that extra parking.
Right. So now you come into this project and you don't have open space, and now you're kind of juggling people and resources and residents and everything else. So but we just do our best to work with and communicate with the CAM and make sure we're doing it the best way that helps them.
Yeah, I guess the only way to do it is to just kind of go over things and say, well, we're going to be here approximately this amount of time, and these people are going to have to park over here. And then I imagine there's a lot of dust and stuff clean up afterwards. You guys go out and sweep the parking lot down. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, lots of nail stuff and things of that nature. So and some of the key things when you're doing a project that we ask, how many buildings, how many stories, what type of roof system is it? Do you already have an RFP, request for proposal? Do you have a scope of work? Is there certain, because we get a lot where sometimes the CAM says, hey, I need bids on this. Well, and then you find out later that, oh, they have a RFP, but they just wanted a bid, but there's specific, parameters that the board wants. And no fault to the CAM. They're just trying to get the numbers, they're trying to get it. And so we just try to be helpful in asking the right questions. And, do you have any special concerns? What kind of warranty are you looking for? What kind of, are you funded for the project? And it's okay if you're not. We have resources for that too, that we can help you and guide you and direct you, but these are things that, just asking all the right questions to understand, the more questions you ask, I think, and the more questions they ask of us, and the deeper you get with each other, it's like you build this bond to realize, okay, we're in it for the same reason. We're here to help you. You've chosen us, Stratus Roofing, because you're trusting us to do the right thing and take care of your project. And that's what we do.
Okay. So we've established that a little bit about the project. I always like to talk a little bit about the project, because it seems like something that when people are promoting their services, they don't really talk that much about. And that's such a huge deal, because that's what the unit owners see. Forget about what we've talked about in the beginning, what your unit owners see, and then go running back to your board or whoever and complain about. That's what we have to worry about.
Right.
So you guys do shingle, tile,
metal, flat, which is, so there's two different types of flat. You have the the modified bitumen flat roofs. It's like a flat shingle that rolls out. And then we also do the TPO, which is like a rubbery plastic stuff on a lot of commercial buildings. So, and we also do coating. So if a community has a flat roof, it could qualify for a coating that could get it a few more years of life. So that you can't do the coatings on shingle or tile, but the biggest thing with tile roofs is what I hear a lot, we're seeing a lot of, and we're involved in communities with where, it was built 10 years ago and now they're having leaks all over the place. And it's not the tile that's gone bad, it's the underlayment, it was the installation, they didn't install the flashing right. There's all these other issues. And so, tile is only as good as what you put underneath it. And, we use a high-end, water barrier that lasts, it's going to last a lot longer than 10 years. But, that's where people are seeing issues with tile. That's the biggest challenge that they're facing. And then here's the thing is they have all these leaks and they want to chase these repairs. And if they continue to chase the repairs in the next 2 years, they probably would have been better off replacing it and saved them a lot of money.
And then they have a warranty that goes with that, what they've just spent, instead of not having. When you do a repair, there's no warranty there, or what type of warranty is there?
We do a 1-year warranty unless the condition of the roof says, hey, we can put a temporary repair on this, but we can't warranty it because of the status of your roof. And we're really upfront with people, like, you might be able to find somebody to do it. You know, we recommend this, we're going to do it the right way. And a lot of times people go, man, you're so much more expensive. And they have somebody else go out and do this repair that was half the price. But then guess what? They're calling us 3-4 months later when the big rains come, going, man, it wasn't fixed right. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. I get it. You know, so it really, you know, I have this motto. I said, basically the cheaper is usually the one you just want. The cheapest price, you just usually want to throw that out, you know, in all reality, because nine times out of 10, the reason they're cheaper is because they're either not available, they don't have enough insurance that you really want covered, they don't have the resources that can support, you know, big challenges. And so these are things to just kind of think about.
Well, you think about that, like if they took somebody, let's say they were less expensive, but because they have less manpower, it takes them 2 to 3 times longer to get the job done. Right. Where your unit owners are inconvenienced much longer. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that. That seems, oh, wow.
Yeah, you know, just to kind of piggyback off that a little bit, insurance. When you're looking at how a contractor is insured, and this is any contractor, you know, you want to look closely at what's their aggregate. You know, what is it? 1 million? 1 million is like minimum. 2 million is decent. You know, we carry 5 million in aggregate, which is huge. And that's like, people in that world go, wow, why? That's overkill. But if you have a significant incident, you have something happen where somebody, God forbid, gets seriously injured on a job site. You know, if we only have 2 million, then they're going to go after you for the other 3 or 4 million, you know, whereas we have that coverage to protect the entire project. And that's just peace of mind. I have a couple of things. I wrote a little article. I put it on LinkedIn, and you guys can find me there on LinkedIn, and you know, you'll have my contact information here. But one of the things that I encourage CAMs to do is, you know, the board so often, when it comes to proposals, when it comes to any type of proposal, especially the replacement proposals, they just want a number. And they, you know, unless they have a very defined RFP that they're comparing, you know, apples to apples with, or oranges to oranges, or whatever they've requested, it's super important that they get those contractors in front of the board and ask those questions in person and come up with additional questions, because what you'll find is the heart and soul of that contractor, because they might be the most expensive contractor, but then when you talk to the middle and least expensive, you realize, okay, there's a reason, and we might want that peace of mind. I'm not saying we're always the most expensive. In fact, the last few, I've been told we're in the middle, which is great. We like being in the middle. Middle's where you want to be. But in all reality, speaking and dialoguing and getting to know that contractor, and this is any contractor, not just a roofer,
right?
You know, electrical, you know, arborists, you know, all the different elements that these CAMs are dealing with. If you can take it just that extra step and give the opportunity for those contractors to talk, and also go visit the office, go look at what their environment looks like, go check, you know, you come here and we got a nice reception area. There's people here professionally working throughout the entire organization, you know, whereas you go to the guy that was the cheapest and it might be his house. And not to say he couldn't do a great job, but you know, those guys, everybody has to start somewhere. But you want to know what's the soul and what's the real, you know, we all have something that people see on the front, but what's behind all that? What does that company stand for? The other thing is, I already mentioned before, is throw out the cheapest price. You know, when you've gone the cheapest route, how often has it really worked out for you? You know, because so often I hear horror stories all the time. Man, we should have went with you. And I hear that on every level of every different service that's out there. You know, we say cheaper is not better. Cheaper is usually the worst. You know, think about tires. You know, you buy a cheap tire versus like a Michelin, it's, you know, super expensive. Well, how's that going to work out? You're going to end up buying 2 or 3 of the cheap tires where you could have just bought 1 Michelin tire and actually saved money in the long run. So, and then finally, which I a little bit mentioned about insurance, but vetting your contractors, finding out, you know, what status do they hold in their industry, and look at their reviews, and look not only at their reviews, but look at how they respond to their negative reviews, because there's going to be negative reviews. That's just the nature of any business.
Yeah.
But look how they respond to them and how they engage with that dialogue, and you're going to learn a ton of what that company is about. And And those are the three kind of fundamental principles that I like to share with anyone, CAMs especially, when they're looking at vetting contractors and looking at choosing a contractor for a project.
Any last thing that you want to say to the CAMs?
I would say that here at Stratus Roofing, we care about you, we care about your community, and I would love the opportunity to get to know each of you, that as you join this incredible platform, CAM Matrix, that I love to do lunch, coffee, breakfast, dinner, come to your space. I even do online, as we do the online training, what I like to do is send out Grubhub credits so you can order Grubhub. So even though we're online and not doing that lunch and learn or feeding you, I'm going to find ways to make sure you're taken care of. That's really what we're all about, is putting people first. And I look forward to having the opportunity to get to know you all, not only on the business side, but more importantly, personally as well.
Well, great. We're glad to have you here on the CAM Matrix, and I want to thank you for taking time out to talk to me today. And welcome aboard. And let's rock and roll and get some education rolling.
Yeah. Can't wait. I'm super excited to be a part of your CAM Matrix. It's really, really exciting, Carrie.